Good morning, this is Fred Hadley reporting live over Facebook for the Village Sentry, where apparently there's been a two-car collision at the intersection of Cornwall Drive and Century Village Boulevard. This is the same intersection where the fatal pedestrian accident occurred. See that the sheriff is already on the scene. Here's that the red car was heading outbound. Doesn't appear to be any injuries. See that there's side damage on the Toyota. So it appears that the Toyota was heading north on Dorset Drive into Cornwall. And the red vehicle, which I haven't identified yet, apparently T-boned it.
You have an email?
The Camry does have a resident sticker on the rear window. This is it's like a Hyundai Santa Fe. I'm not sure which. Got the H.
Sir, can I get you to out of the road?
Yes,
please?
sir. Right away, sir.
I was driving and the bus was coming and I stopped for the bus.
So which way were you driving?
I was coming.
Then
Like right here?
This is just a few feet away from where a resident was run down last summer. This is the actual crosswalk that she was crossing in when she was struck. So it appears to be a intersection collision, T-bone. This red Santa Fe. Looks like drove right into the side of the black Camry. And again, nobody seems to be injured, which is good. How you doing?
all right.
So, part-time,
Yeah, I live in
Okay, it's once a year or that's
Were you in the Santa Fe?
Excuse me?
Were you in the red one?
No, her.
Oh, oh.
Her, the driver.
You were in the Santa Fe. You were going
You,
on the Boulevard?
oh, yeah, this her?
Yeah. And what? She was coming, so she had the stop sign and you did not. So,
Okay. All right, just
Stop sign. Ya tenía. Porque me vio caminando.
Hey guys.
How you doing? Good.
got security on the scene now.
because the boss was
Ella venía antes.
You need to come here. No, I want to come with me.
What happened when you driving?
¿Qué pasó cuando se venía? Dice que
Pasa cualquiera. Ahí no hay stop.
okay. She said it's coming on the road.
I want to thank Artie and Helene Harris for phoning this in. Once again, if you just joined us, we're at the very busy intersection of Cornwall Drive and Century Village Boulevard, where there's been a two-car collision here involving a Toyota Camry, which apparently did not have the right-of-way and was heading north on, I think it's, at that point it's considered Dorset Drive, and it turns into Century Village, or excuse me, Cornwall Drive over on this side. And of course the cross street is the main drag of Century Village Boulevard. Certainly weather was not a factor. Hardly a cloud in the sky. Temperatures are right now 77 degrees. Dry road conditions, and fortunately there does not appear to be any injury.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm asking. Does she have a ride? You can't drive it like this. Study for you? Study for you? This guy. You want to rip all this stuff off? You can't drive it.
Both vehicles appear to be resident vehicles. I see the gate entry sticker on the Santa Fe. I guess it's a Hyundai, that sideways H on the front grille. I always confuse it with Honda. They also have an H.
How is the car going to be? You can't drive it. You can't drive it. Do all that. You make it drivable. Other than that, it's nothing.
Seems to be a big discussion about the damage to the right front quarter of the Hyundai Santa Fe. It seemed to sustain the greater damage, as you might expect, because of the front end, the steering, etc., might be affected.
You just stand on the road here. So I don't want anybody to get hit.
At least nobody got killed.
Don't know if speed was a factor here. This is obviously east of this location. Century Village Boulevard is 4 lanes and it merges into a 2-lane road, 2 lanes in each direction, of course. And then once you get past the intersection, you can see the 4-lane section that goes all the way out to the gate. So I don't know, when the single lane becomes a double lane, there might be a tendency for people to speed up, but don't know if that was a factor. So again, there does not appear to be any injuries that we're aware of. Apparently there's no fire rescue vehicle. Hey, how are you?
Okay, looks like this intersection is more of a hazard than
Yeah, it's a hot intersection. Yeah.
I think I would have never left. I don't tell you that somebody's in 15 or 20.
Yeah, I know, it's hard to talk. Yeah. You don't want to say anything about your little incident, do you?
No.
We're on Facebook Live now. You want to tell everybody how you recovered or your injuries?
Yeah, but then there might be somebody back. Well, okay.
Well, don't say anything if there's any court case or anything.
Yeah. It's.
Tell us who you are.
I'm Bob Ness. I live in Cornwall Association,
Okay.
and I was in a pedestrian auto accident where I was the pedestrian. Further on this road, I now can drive, so I make this left turn into my association,
Okay.
and it's very deceptive.
It
There's
is.
more of a danger than it is because
Right.
you cannot adjust to the speed that people are driving because they can do anywhere between 50 and 20.
Yeah.
But 20 miles per hour is the speed limit.
Right. Right.
Could be argued that 20
tell
is
us about
too-
what happened with you. You were in a very spectacular
Well, I
accident.
have no memory of it.
Right. Well, I was there on the scene. All I can
Yeah.
tell you is when I got there, the vehicle that struck you was partially submerged in the
And
E2W
the lady-
canal.
the
She
lady
went
was
right
in
through
the
the
process of
chain
drowning.
link fence, and she did not appear to suffer any kind of injury because fire rescue was able to.
Yeah.
The police were able to
When
get her out of the
someone told
vehicle.
me she was going fast enough to hit the far end of the water,
Oh, sure.
which was shallower
Yeah.
than the near end. If
Yeah,
she
that's
was
right.
going slower
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
near
she
end,
was
she might
flying.
have drowned.
Yeah, and she struck you, and you wound up what in the intersection, I guess, or
I wound up somewhere near the bus stand.
right. Now I understand she was trying to pass a slow-moving United States mail truck or
Well, the
something.
story is,
Yeah.
and she used to live here,
Yeah, huh?
is she was going there, and as is common here, like I see walking, people are usually using their cell phone when they shouldn't.
Sure.
They should pull over and stop, or they should connect it to their
Bluetooth, right?
Bluetooth, like
yeah.
I do. So, and she dropped something.
Oh,
She bent over to pick it up,
Oh.
and then she came face to face with the mail truck that was approaching a stop sign
Right.
there. And I was crossing. There was a stop sign there.
yeah,
And a good driver would have just hit that mail truck
sure.
on the driver's side
Uh-huh.
and taken a hit.
Right,
You know, a mail truck's not that heavy,
Yeah.
especially from the rear end.
right.
But I gather she didn't have,
See, they're cleaning up behind you.
like many people who drive here, they never drove much in their life.
Right.
And they live with the maid who did the driving, and then they have to come out. I don't know whether that lady did, but when she picked up what she was dropping, she saw she was coming head on to with a mail truck, and instead she turned to the right, onto the grass,
Okay.
over some obstructive metal, 2 of them.
Yeah, I saw that. I
Around the
think
truck.
there was a pedestrian warning sign that was bent over.
Yeah.
So what happened to you? What were
I got hit. I don't even know if I went
I know,
under
but what was the
car or
extent of your
over.
injuries?
Well, I'm still recovering. It's 2 years. I still have numbness in my feet. I feel like my feet are cold all the time.
Okay.
Which it might be just a... He wants me away.
Yeah. How long were you hospitalized for?
I had broken pelvis shattered pelvis. They had to sew it up. And I was put in induced coma twice. I spent 86 days in the hospital. What saved my life is the ambulance picked me up and sent me to Delray Trauma Unit.
Yeah.
They couldn't find I was bleeding internally. My
Wow.
stomach was bulging. And it took them probably a day or so to find where I was bleeding. They pumped in 23 pints of blood.
Wow.
And till they were able to stop it. And then they realized I was hurt elsewhere. 4 fractures of the left leg.
Wow.
I have had severe.
I see them moving the Santa Fe over to the side of the road. So apparently the damage is not too severe if they were able to drive the car over here.
I have limited. I still have a little nerve damage in my right leg, but I'm
Okay.
able to drive. I just finished walking 2 miles,
Okay.
so it's 2 years, and I'm still recovering. But I'm about 85% okay.
Well, thank goodness for that, and
Yeah.
I'm glad
I
you're.
had a concussion. I was 86
Here,
days.
here comes the other vehicle. Now we can get a good close-up without breaking any rules here. You can see that it was practically a midship hit. And this vehicle was apparently heading north. Hey, Bob, I didn't get to say thank you, okay? Thank you very much for the interview.
Yeah, so I spent 86 days in the hospital. I had to learn how to walk
Okay.
because I didn't know. It's
Right.
funny when you got to learn
Yeah,
to
yeah,
walk.
yeah.
I had a drop foot on my right leg, which I have a little bit of now, and I'm recovering. The concussion, I don't know. I have a funny, I to find singular words when I'm doing
Right. So again,
associative
this
properties
this
of
has nothing to
memory.
do with today. For people that are just watching this,
Yes.
this was what, 2 years ago?
March 28th, 2020.
So just about when the pandemic was beginning,
Yeah,
I would
just
say.
about 2 years.
Yeah. So I don't remember when I covered it that there was any.
When the toilet paper was disappearing.
Oh yeah, that was it. And then
And they wanted the president to tell the truth about
Right.
what he knew about COVID, which
Right.
was limited.
right.
Everybody's panicking
Yeah.
and getting toilet paper.
Oh
So
yeah, yeah.
that's
yeah.
about when it happened.
All right. Well, listen. I hope your recovery
Yeah.
proceeds well, and you seem to have all your marbles, thank goodness, and you are able to walk. So
Yeah.
I hope you're.
You didn't realize I was hit because it was gone before you were at the accident.
Yeah, yeah. When I got I was told that it was a pedestrian involved, and I'm not trying to remember. Was there a shoe of yours or something? There was something
Yeah,
in the
there was
road.
a cap.
Oh,
I
that
saw
was what it was. It was a
photograph
cap.
of
Yeah,
in
so
the
I knew
middle of
that
the
there was
road.
pedestrian involvement.
Yeah.
But I heard one of the security people said to me that they think you might have been transported through the fence on the hood of the car, but obviously
No,
No,
I
that
don't
didn't
even
happen.
know if I got run over. I
Right.
think he hit me. And
Right.
I was on the top of
Sure,
his car. I
sure.
suffered a concussion too.
Right.
That's why my last 4 or 5 weeks was in St. Mary's rehab
right.
to learn how to walk
Wow.
and study my brain
Yeah.
cognitive
yeah,
issues. And they saved me really too.
Well,
The-
that's very good.
The
Yeah.
PT person was very good because I worked very hard at it.
We're
which was-
lucky we're right next to the fire rescue station.
Yeah, I would like to figure out who picked me up and thank them, but they do it so often. I'm just another person.
Yeah, well, that's right.
You know?
It's important to you, but to them, it's just a day's work.
Yeah.
All right, well, listen, thanks very much. Once
Okay.
again, this is Bob Ness, a resident of Cornwall, one of my neighbors, who was involved in a collision where the car struck him at East Village Lane and Century Village Boulevard and knocked him down. The car proceeded to go through the fence and into the canal. But that was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So back to...
The panic, she did 2 things wrong. She bent over to pick something up. I have
Uh-huh.
no memory of that.
Right.
and she must have froze on the gas pedal.
Oh,
and that's
yeah.
how she went through the fence over 50
Yeah,
feet.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
People have to have some driving experience, not
Yeah,
to panic like
I know.
that.
Unfortunately, they don't retest drivers
you
down
gotta
here.
drive
And she
about-
wasn't too old, I think.
No, she was like
50-ish?
60 or so.
Yeah,
59,
yeah.
60.
There's a picture of her that
Yeah.
the sheriff released sitting
Oh,
on
yeah, I
the...
don't even know who she is. She's a neighbor. I don't even want
Yeah,
to know who she is.
sure. All right. Well, thanks again for the interview, and good luck with your recovery.
Yeah.
And
It's pretty apparent that this intersection, which looks harmless,
Yeah.
is just not harmless.
no, it's a bit.
The lady-
Well, the closer you get to the front gate, obviously, there's more traffic
That's
because
right.
there's more associations feeding into it. And as I pointed out, this is the point where the boulevard goes from 1 lane to 2 lane. As you can see that car approaching, that's the beginning of the 2 lane section. So once they
Yeah.
get to that point, there's a psychology of, well, I'm on a big highway now.
Yeah, move
and
to
as
the
they
left
pass
and
through,
pass.
like this car is doing, now they're on a 2 lane road,
At least 30
so.
and a 20 after an accident. He was doing
Sure,
30 and a 20
sure.
after an accident.
Sure. All right, so to summarize, that was Bob Ness, a neighbor from Cornwall who was unfortunately struck in 2020 by a car that then went through the fence and into the canal. And these are the 2 vehicles, Toyota Camry and the Santa Fe. I think it's a Hyundai. And they both have residence stickers on it, and doesn't seem to be too much damage. The car was drivable. The woman just moved it over here, and probably $2,000 after all is said and done. I don't know if the hood got a hit, but it looks like the fender and a lot of trim. Good news, nobody was injured. So folks, please slow it down. Observe your stop signs, and if you're on the main road, don't trust the stop signs. It's important that you look at every intersection as a potential conflict. Look both ways, even though you think you're in the right of way. What good does it do you if somebody plows into you, as appears to be the case this morning here at Cornwall Drive and Century Boulevard in Century Village West, which is in beautiful, sunny Boca Raton, Florida. And we're going to end this broadcast now. Again, this is the very busy intersection of Cornwall Drive and Century Village Boulevard. And one of the articles we covered recently is they're using PBSO up in our sister village to enforce traffic regulations. But it doesn't come free. You have to pay. I think they're paying about $250,000 a year to have a full-time sheriff's deputy. We had a picture of him on a motorcycle cop, we used to call them in New York. Down here they're called deputies. So that's it. So be safe, folks. Drive carefully. We're still in the high season, a lot of traffic on the roads, and be careful when you drive around, and keep your speed as close to 20 as possible for your own sake and the sake of pedestrians and other motorists. Fred Hadley reporting live at the very busy intersection of Cornwall Drive and Century Village Boulevard. Thank you for watching. Have any comments or questions, leave it down below. We'll try to answer them.